Unheard of.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Another great week here at Unheard of. It's your main boy, Jay Ray here, Jerod Evans on the line today. And I know ABG said that he was going to bring two guests on this week. The plans came up. He's not here, nor are the two guests, but we've got a great friend of the show, great friend of ourselves, Mr. Bryce McElwee. How are you on? How are you doing today, man? I'm already slurring. It's going to be a great show.
I'm pretty good. Just been working.
Yeah. This is, I think, the first time you've joined us since we moved to video.
Yeah, it is.
So
First time it was just audio, so
yeah, so now everybody can see you crystal clear. And yeah, guys, ABG, you had to head out of town, but I didn't want us, to have y'all miss another week because we just missed a week recently for Drewby's wedding. So we got Bryce on because last week I didn't mention his name, but everybody in our circle knows I was talking about him when I was discussing Matt Ryan. And you know what? We're just gonna get straight into it, man. You're a full Matt Ryan supporter, and we agree on some things, but I think his time is past in Atlanta.
I mean, time is coming where it's gonna be it's coming to an end. But I think he's got probably this year and another year probably. At least.
So there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, his organization sucks around him. And to that point, I would agree. However, we've got literally, you can look at almost every other organization and the ones that are even decently good. Like we've got good ownership who wants to spend the money to win. And he just hires bad people at spending that money over the years. However, you look at a whole bunch of different organizations, and the quarterbacks do not get as many chances as Matt Ryan unless they have a Super Bowl, a la Eli Manning, who was really god awful at the end of his career, but because of those Super Bowl rings, he had this big leash on him, until they finally drafted Daniel Jones. And I think what we're seeing, especially this year, Matty Ice is on the decline. I don't know. I know we have a terrible O-line, and we can get more about how I feel into the cap issues here in a minute. But I'm just saying that basically, I don't know if he's got past this year just because of how many head coaches and GMs he's survived at this point, and he doesn't have really anything besides the MVP and stats, keeping us.
I mean, it wouldn't bother me if he left this year because, I mean, it's obvious they're not gonna do anything to help him win, basically. And a lot of it is his fault though. I mean, he should have took a pay cut. I agree with you on that, but I still feel even though he didn't take a pay cut and the O-line and everything is still trash, I think he does a good job for not having people around him to really win games. I mean, I know he's always had good receivers, but I don't know. He just hadn't. I mean, besides Super Bowl year, I can't really think of many other seasons where he's had just great linemen.
We've had a good run game a few of the years, but I don't know, man. To me, Matt Ryan, he's I don't know how to put it, because I feel like to me, it's gotten to a point where he's leading Atlanta Falcons fans on. He's coming out here in these press conferences every week. He's like, I know we can be a good football team. Okay, well then be a good football team, man. Y'all ain't out here playing in the preseason. You ain't taking pay cuts so we can sign old linemen. And this guy, he's throwing 2 pick sixes against Tom Brady's Buccaneers, man. And I thought we were going to at least look better than Carolina this year. But the whole Falcons organization is proving that entirely wrong.
Hey, I kind of felt like that was going to happen, but I don't know. Well, one of the picks was like he threw it and it got bobbled and the other guy caught it or something, like bounced off. So I mean, I don't blame things like that on Matt Ryan, but yeah, we shouldn't be throwing, like, sometimes he has blown his fair share of games. I'll say that. But
Definitely recently.
yeah, I expect him to decline with age, but like I don't know, saying like there's just some people that'll be like, which I don't know how you feel about it, but there's just some people who will be like, Matt Ryan is terrible. Like they were even saying that during like Super Bowl year and stuff, and winning an MVP, saying he was trash and everything.
Nah, man, I got Matt Ryan jerseys. I'm still repping them. Okay. My problem is I think we need a fresh face in Atlanta. Like, uh, there gets to a point, and it's the same thing with like head coaches changing, like Tom
Yeah,
Brady needed a change, and a lot of head coaches, the messaging just kind of gets lost. And in Atlanta, like you mentioned, and I bring up continuously, like we don't have an O line, which is why I keep going back to the argument. If we're not going to get an O line, then we at least need a mobile quarterback who can move around and scramble a little bit, to make plays happen. And Matty Ice, man, he can't do it. Like, I know he's running for his life. He's not the only one in the league. We thought Indianapolis had a good line last season. Carson Wentz is running for his life again, but that I'm totally fine with because he wanted to get up out of Philly, so that's on him. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I just think if you're not going to invest in a running back, then we need to stop saying, okay, Matt Ryan's not the problem because we've kept him for so many years with the bad O line. So if it's not equating to winning games, we might as well move on with a new quarterback.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Like, I don't know. I feel like what's really going to hurt, I think, in the long run, like Falcon, like the organization is probably going to look back and be like, why didn't we take a quarterback in the draft? Because like Kyle Pitts he's obviously like a once in a lifetime talent. Like, he's 6'8". He's a mismatch on the field with any linebacker. So I get that them taking him, but at the same time, we could have at least got a quarterback to sit behind Matt Ryan this year, let Matt Ryan coach him up a little bit, and then if Matt Ryan wanted to, he could leave
Or we
instead of
could,
just keep getting hit. Like,
yeah, or we could have just traded him. I mean, I get, I was totally fine with drafting Kyle Pitts as much as I vouch for Justin Fields. Totally fine with it because everybody said, "Hey, Kyle Pitts is the best player in the draft," and so to get the best player in the draft, yeah, I'm good with it. That's a lot of talent you can add to the roster. I just think we're getting to a point where we can't keep saying every year Matt Ryan's the problem. Like Philadelphia they look decent. I mean, I'm not saying they're a great team right now. There's a lot of season left to play, but they actually look pretty good without Carson Wentz up in there. I mean, Jalen Hurts, you know it. Jalen
yeah,
Hurts he's doing his thing. He's running around, and man, Philly actually looks somewhat decent with a mobile quarterback up in there. And I'm saying the same type of thing for us. If we let Matt Ryan go, how many teams do you think trade for him in the league right now? Maybe one, maybe two. I can think of two.
off the top of my head, I can't really think, but I feel like somebody would take him if we wanted to trade him. Not well, okay. I don't know because his contract is pretty bad, but I don't know. I think somebody would probably take him if they had the money to spend and they were like right there at being contenders and they had enough money. Then I think that somebody would probably take him.
I think Houston is a good candidate because their team is pretty awful. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, and they have Deshaun Watson. So if his stuff ever clears up, that would actually be really good for Atlanta. As long as he's not convicted of anything, then that would actually be pretty good for Atlanta's football team.
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty not. I think like the fans in Atlanta would really like having somebody like Deshaun Watson because it'd be like having Michael Vick again, even though their play styles really aren't the same. But like I don't know, I think it
Yeah.
would feel like people. It'd give people a good vibe, I guess.
Like the only other teams I can think about that might take a chance on Matt Ryan at this point in time of his career, besides a Houston, is probably like Miami or um, Indy might get tired of Carson Wentz after one season if he keeps getting hurt and playing as god awful as he does. Um, there's one other team. There's one other team I'm trying to think about. Oh, yeah, who you've actually got in your background, the Minnesota Vikings, because I think they are really getting tired of Kirk Cousins. And I think they would try Matty Ice for probably a year. And then Mike Zimmer would probably lose his job.
I was gonna say Indy whenever you're listing teams. I
Yeah.
could see Indy doing it because for like since Peyton Manning left, they just be going through quarterbacks now.
Well, they had Andrew Luck, and he just like retired super early in his career. So,
Yeah,
I mean, hey, if I made $140 million, I might just up and quit too. Shoot.
that's true. But Andrew Luck, that man was a baller. They should have convinced him to stay,
Oh yeah. It's funny that
especially when they had that good offensive line around him too. Like his last couple of years,
I was saying
that could be good.
it's funny that he came back, had an 11-5 season, and then retired after that.
Yeah, like he could have at least won a Super Bowl and then retired.
I don't know. I just don't think he cared about it. Shoot.
No,
Uh.
he was probably actually really injured and
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to come back.
I'm just saying that you put Matt Ryan in a bubble. My problem is the rest of the league is changing, dude. You know it. Seattle, um, God, Seattle, Chicago, Miami, Houston. Everybody is Baltimore. Everybody's literally starting to draft these dual threat quarterbacks, and I feel like sometimes I feel this way about the Bulldogs too, with Kirby Smart and the way he runs the offense, that we're stuck in the past when we could obviously be moving forward, like Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, all half of the league quarterbacks now, Philly, Jalen Hurts, half of them are now switching to that dual threat mobile guy because in the end, if you think about the cap, yeah, Matty Ice, man, dude, if you want to win, take less money like Tom Brady has been doing all these years, so you can actually sign some O linemen. Um, but if you think about it, all these quarterbacks like Russ, and I'm pretty sure he set this trend. Russ got paid a lot of money that nobody thought he was going to get paid when he got his first big deal. But now look at the rest of the league. Like Kyler Murray is probably going to get paid real soon. Lamar is going to get paid. I think it's heading that way because they're going to start paying these mobile guys so they can kind of ease up everywhere else since they're not going to have money to spend on the O line anyways.
Yeah, probably, but I don't know. I feel like I really want to know what Matt Ryan like thinks like outside of football because like in press conferences and stuff, he'd just be talking about how we're going to be better this week and everything. He doesn't really talk about anything else. Like there's more like the media shows up all the other quarterbacks more. I
Yeah,
wonder what this man is thinking like about the money he makes. Like why couldn't he just take a pay cut so we could have a decent offensive line? I don't get it.
because he just had those twins, man, a couple years ago. Those ice cubes. You need
Hey,
a
hey,
100+ million to raise kids.
no, no, you don't need that much. Come on.
All I'm saying,
Hey, give them boys some testosterone real quick and put them on the line or something.
man,
Feed right.
I just think I know why he's not taking a pay cut because he knows his time is coming. He's not going to get that type of money again. Not anymore. I know he just extended like a couple years ago, but I don't know, man. To me, I just hate it because I feel like we're just stuck. Atlanta could be a really good team. We really could, but we just our organization as a whole has been pretty god awful lately. Matt Ryan probably needs to get on up out of there. I'm surprised we didn't get another good offensive coordinator like Eric Bieniemy. instead of
Yeah.
just grabbing Arthur Smith from Tennessee.
I don't think Arthur Smith is bad. I just think that he's going to run into a problem because, like with Tennessee, he had Derrick Henry, so he could run the ball really well,
Yeah.
and then that give him that really just opened up the passing game too for them. But we don't have that, so it's going to be. I mean, I know we're 2 weeks in now, and they haven't been able to win, but I mean, they were able to score decently in week 2. So I really just wonder like what the rest of the year is going to look like and what he draws up for the team.
Well, we only started scoring decently when we were behind by about 14 or 20 points.
That is true.
So I don't know if that was just garbage time for Tampa Bay when they were just like letting up and they're like, you know what, these guys, let them score a couple touchdowns. They ain't coming back. Uh, I mean, we got really close. And
Yeah.
then as soon as we got close, they stomped the brakes off us again.
Tom Brady was over there sitting over here like this. That's how you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
love.
man, I just feel like and our best players are probably our receiving core at this point.
Yeah.
And if Matt Ryan isn't going to take a cut to get some O line people up in there, he's not going to be able to pass to them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like I said, I know Matt Ryan is our best franchise quarterback, but literally, you plug a guy in like Justin Fields, and you keep him in there with the longest leash that Matt Ryan has had for 14 years or whatever, and then he would probably be the league's best quarterback too. I just hate that we get to a point where we were at a Super Bowl a few years ago, and ever since then we've been on this huge decline, and the only thing that keeps changing are the coaches, and we're not actually looking for player changing.
I think that what it is is like the front office is trying to avoid telling fans like, hey, we got to rebuild. Like they're basically just keeping our hopes up. They're just like beating around the bush about it. Like we know we have to rebuild. We might as well just go ahead and do it now instead of
Well, George is
keep on.
used to it, man. I mean, look what we just did with the Hawks. Like,
That's true.
the Hawks weren't good enough, in their current form with like Josh Smith and Joe Johnson to get it done. So we just said, hey, it's a complete rebuild. Turned that sucker around in like 4 to 5 years. You know, wasn't actually, it was probably a little bit shorter than that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, dang, I feel like the Falcons don't even really have to rebuild that much. Like if you just say, "Hey, we're going into a rebuild," right? We've got a great offensive core. We get some linemen, a new quarterback, and man, we got a pretty talented squad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Even if we build, I mean, even if we get rid of a lot of players, we're still going to be decent because we have like, I would say probably one of the best receiving cores in the league. So
I would agree. We've really got a good receiving squad. Um, honestly, man, I'm really kind of glad that we got rid of Julio. I mean, hey, he's probably
yeah,
our best receiver ever. It's just he was kind of a cap hit, and he wasn't really that productive anymore because he spends half the year on the sidelines.
yeah. But I'm gonna miss Julio though. Everybody's gonna miss Julio though.
Yeah, I mean, but Calvin Ridley, man, he's on another
Yeah,
level too.
I mean the past couple years since Julio's been on the sidelines with injuries and stuff. I mean nobody's been more productive than him on the field. I mean he's everywhere.
So my final thought is, and we can keep arguing about it every week in our chats. Matt Matt Ryan needs to be gone after this year. Either that, or we draft his replacement in this year's draft and let him sit behind him next year. I'm totally okay with that. It's worked for a lot of good quarterbacks. Mahomes, I think he benefited greatly from sitting an entire year behind like Alex Smith. So
Yeah,
even just somebody, I mean, I don't know how loaded this next draft class is going to be, but we draft somebody, bring him in, dual threat guy instead of staying in the past with these basic pocket passers. Uh because even the pocket passers are really starting to get mobile. Like Josh Allen, he can throw it, man, but he's also mobile when he needs to be. And I don't know. I feel like we gotta draft his replacement this year because everybody's talking about his numbers. They are on the decline. I mean, his numbers this year look pretty rough.
I mean, we're only 2 games in, though.
Hey,
I
that's all
mean,
I need. That's all I need to see.
but I mean, we ain't got an offensive line, man.
That's 10% of
But
the season. That's enough for me.
I don't know, but I don't think we should get rid of him completely. I think we should do what you were saying with just draft a replacement and let him sit behind Matt Ryan. Because I mean, like, didn't why can't I think of his name now? I just went blank. Didn't Aaron Rodgers sit behind Brett Favre?
For 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, that's why I said the sitting behind system. Like honestly, everybody hates what Chicago is doing with Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. Granted, just like Andy Dalton is not that great of a quarterback. I mean,
But I think
hey,
it's different. I think it's
yeah,
different with that because Andy Dalton, like, I mean, he hasn't had like a terrible career. He's not like a terrible quarterback, but like over the past like couple of seasons, not couple, I'd probably say like 5 years, he hasn't been good. So like, I don't understand why you wouldn't let Justin Fields start. I mean, I know it's all about getting him ready for that moment, but like, I don't
yeah.
know. I feel like Justin Fields can be one of those players who makes impact instantly.
I'd say there's one more team Matt Ryan could probably go to, the Washington football team, but his options would be very limited, and that should send a message to the way the league is heading and where he stands at in his career.
Hey, Matt Ryan and Terry McLaurin, that'd be pretty nice. But
Terry
yeah,
McLaurin has been cooking for me this year. I mean, I know
he,
some people. Well, I don't think I have him. Yeah, I do have him in our league. Um, some people, I won't name his name, but I was told in our chat that I had a pretty god awful roster, and yet I'm 2-0 in our fantasy. And I don't know how this week's going to turn out, but I won the first 2 games. So that's saying something for my horrible drafted roster, you know?
hey, I was told that I had like the worst team also, and I started 1-1, so I'm happy with that.
But what's crazy though is the Falcons have lost our first 2 games, obviously. What's crazy is we could actually be 4-2 because the next 4 teams that we face this week, we face the Giants. Next week, we face the Washington football team. After that, we face the Jets. And then we face the Dolphins, who God knows how long they're going to be without Tua. Washington doesn't really have a starting quarterback. Zach Wilson is apparently going to be throwing like multiple interceptions every single week up in New York.
That's
Uh,
true,
so
unfortunately.
honestly, man, surprisingly, we could actually be 4-2, even given our current squad.
Well, as a Falcons fan, I do not trust them, so I have already went ahead and taken the Giants defense and put them on my starting lineup in fantasy. So if any of the Giants defense is listening to this podcast, I need y'all boys to show out against the Falcons, please. And
I'm
thank you.
I'm just saying those 4 teams that we have next, the eye test should tell you, hey, the Falcons could realistically be 4-2, but we know we're gonna find a way to be 0-6 or 1-5 because that's just what we do in Atlanta.
I mean, yeah, on paper, they really should beat every single one of those teams, but they're going to find a way to lose.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll we'll cough it up. We'll be facing the Jets. Zach Wilson will have thrown another 3 interceptions, and Matt Ryan is just going to go out there and throw another pick six. Like literally last year when we faced the Chargers, and my God, we had a chance to win that game, like in the last drive, because we just picked off Justin Herbert, right? Matt Ryan goes out there and immediately throws an interception, like right away. I'm like, oh my God, only in Atlanta could this happen.
Hey, I don't think anything gets worse than that Dallas game, though. That was probably the worst thing I've ever seen.
You talking about the opener from last year
Yes,
or the
the
second
kickoff.
game where we like had a shootout?
Yeah, and then the onside kick debacle.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Hey man, only in Atlanta. And I don't think Arthur Smith is going to help us out with that. I mean, geez.
No.
I mean, literally, Arthur Blank, you tell me you care about winning, and then you go and get these coaches that are the most unoriginal play callers. You tell me what makes Arthur Smith unique about his play calling abilities in Tennessee. Nothing. Like literally, I didn't see any type of wild plays that they were running. Like he's literally giving the ball to Derrick Henry as he should be, best player on the field. He's giving the ball to his best player 80% of the time. I didn't see no type of special things from Arthur Smith in Tennessee.
No, any coach can tell you that if you have a daggum 6'3", 200 and something pound dude is literally a mini Hulk in the backfield. I mean, you might as well hand the ball to him every play. I mean, what can go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Eric Bieniemy still have success when like Patty Mahomes gets injured with like Matt Moore and whoever is his backup, you know. So I'm thinking, man, we could have had a guy like Eric Bieniemy up in here, and we just go get Arthur Smith. Like, what is up with that?
I don't even know. I don't
Or
know.
I actually liked um the Jets head coach because he used to be the 49ers defensive coordinator. I think his name is like Robert Sanu or something like that. He is extremely motivated. It's a shame he took the New York job because man, he probably could have worked wonders in Atlanta.
Look, we all know the best coach in the league right now is Detroit's head coach. That man,
Wow.
it doesn't matter how many losses they have this year. We know that he's going to beat up the other team's head coach. So it doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to
Hey,
break their legs. He even said it himself. So,
I do love Dan Campbell's energy. He comes out there and says, "Hey, we're gonna break their kneecaps, and then we're
exactly.
gonna get up and break their kneecaps again." Like, uh, he's really bringing that Detroit toughness to life out there.
Yeah.
So, look, man, we said we was going to get into it. I felt like we had a more cordial conversation than most people thought we would have had. It's just because I feel like I would much rather be going 0-17 and knowing we were in a rebuild than watching us have some type of hope just for Matt Ryan to throw like pick sixes at the end of the game, you know, and like
Yeah.
cost us. I would much rather us just go full rebuild because I definitely feel like he's holding us back. He's like that last string that says, yeah, you know what? We're not in a rebuild because we still have this franchise quarterback. But at the same time, he's also costing us half of our games sometimes in the past couple of years.
Like I said, though, I mean, Matt Ryan has his fair share of blown games, but
Super
and I
Bowl
had to
being one
dial
of them.
it back. I had to dial it back, man. It can't be too wild over here on the pod. The internet might see me acting a fool.
Hey, we could have done
But
it. We could have done it. And you know what? I'll go a step further just to poke the bear. Matt Ryan, his MVP year, Super Bowl. You go out there on like a 3rd and 12, I believe what it was. Fourth quarter. Kyle Shanahan calls a pass play when all you need in the final minutes of the game is a field goal and you win the Super Bowl. Matt Ryan takes that call, doesn't question it, even though he's the MVP and he's been the franchise quarterback for over a decade at this point. He doesn't question it, goes out there, lines up for the pass, gets strip sacked, momentum completely turns. And obviously, we all know that when Tom Brady gets the ball in overtime, it's over. But all I'm saying is you hear these other guys like Aaron Rodgers and even Nick Foles, who was a backup. He's literally, calling audibles, calling plays. And Matt Ryan gets up there in the press conference or whatever after the Super Bowl. He's like, hey, that's what coach called. I was just going to run what coach called. Like, what? Did you not want to win a Super Bowl? Call an audible, dude.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, look, the defense should have never got him in that position in the first place.
Hey, all I'm saying.
But I mean, I think whenever you have a coach that or an offensive coordinator that is good as Kyle Shanahan, then you should be able to trust them to make the right call.
Hey, man, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy, and he was out there like acting like he couldn't hear him if he thought it was a dumb play call. Same thing goes. Like, I don't care if you're in the Super Bowl, man. If you're the MVP, you're the franchise guy. I feel like Matt Ryan, out of any other quarterback in the league, should have had the balls to just say, "Hey, we're not running that play. I'm going to get up to the line. I'm going to call a run. That way we can just kick a field goal and win this thing." But no, man, like that's the stuff that gets me with Matt Ryan. I'm like, how are you not more involved in like play calling and everything? And you've been the guy, for years.
I don't know. Maybe he just got the bag and like his brain was just like, you know what, I got my money. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's my problem, man. I think a lot of guys just want the money and they don't care about us fans. They don't have to. But, a lot of us fans, we just want a Super Bowl. Like, I mean, if we don't start rebuilding soon, odds are I'm going to be dead, and we'll never get a Super Bowl in Atlanta.
I mean, at this rate, I mean, we both might be dead at this
Jesus.
point.
They're going to be they're not going to say they're rebuilding. In 10 years we're going to have a 43-year-old like Matt Ryan who's just like, you know, barely limping up to the line at that point. And hey, this is our year. This is our year. We got our franchise quarterback up in here, stat leader for the entire franchise. Oh yeah, this is our year. And
Hopefully, Dan Campbell don't get to him before the rest of the NFL does. He's not even going to be able to. He might be able to crawl to the huddle. That's about it, man.
you know what? A lot of people talk about the Detroit Lions because I think they're 0-2. But they've played surprisingly good football. They're not a bad 0-2.
Yeah, I feel like the past couple of years, even like I don't know, I feel like they have a pretty good core of like young players. They just have to find maybe like some veterans and stuff to coach them up. Besides like good coaches, I don't know. But they don't look bad to me either.
Yeah. And for all you folks out there, here's something me and Bryce do agree on: our love for Georgia football, the great, the only good team in the state, as far as I'm concerned. Uh,
Exactly.
so
Sorry, Drew.
yeah, he knows. He knows. I mean, when Georgia Tech got that close with Clemson, you already knew that Clemson just wasn't that good this year because if they're letting Tech stay in the game, yeah, they're not that good. Uh, but Georgia football. So this year, I always say, because it's just been proven at this point to be our kryptonite, that we can't get past Nick Saban. Doesn't matter if Mark Richt is our head coach. Doesn't matter if Kirby Smart's our head coach. We can't get past Nick Saban. However, this year we've got a really, really good defense, and in college football, the old adage of defense wins championships. Oh, that's 100% true in college football. And I would say the same thing that I say about Atlanta and the NFL, that Kirby Smart stuck a little bit in the past because I definitely think Justin Fields should have been our quarterback over Fromm. There's really no debate for me. I think dual threat is also the way to go in college. However, uh, it's been proven when you have elite defenses. Even last year, Mac Jones is not like a dual threat quarterback, and Alabama was killing teams. So I think this could finally be the year where we have the legitimate chance to compete with Alabama. The only thing I hate is that we could win the SEC again, right? And Alabama could still get voted into the freaking 4-team playoff race without competing in the SEC title game or even with getting beat in it. And then we'd probably just lose again, like in the title game.
I'm okay with letting Alabama in, even if we did beat them in the SEC. And the reason why is because I don't think that there's a team in college football right now that is better than Georgia and Alabama. So I'd be okay with allowing. I know the committee or whatever didn't like after they played in 2018. I'm pretty sure they said they weren't going to allow two teams from one conference anymore. But I mean, who else do you put? I mean, Oregon does look pretty good. They look serious to me. But I don't know. I don't think that Penn State is good enough. I don't think that Texas A&M is good enough. I don't know. To me, it just looks like there's only two teams that have a serious chance of winning it all.
I
And
mean,
I know Georgia still has to work on the offense, but I mean, I will give them a little bit of slack because they have had a lot of injuries this year on offense.
yeah,
But I think in especially last week, uh, I think Georgia looked good on offense. I mean, what really killed them the past like last year, I think, or maybe the couple years before that, was like every time we had the ball, we would do these little screen passes,
yep.
and like Alabama and teams with decently good defenses are going to be able to stop that easily. But I feel like last week against South Carolina, we let JT Daniels do his thing. We let him throw the ball down the field, and he looked really good, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, we can't do screens on like an Alabama blitz, Like that's just
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
it's dumb play calling. I just feel like if any year was our year, this is it, man. Like our defense looks top notch, stellar. Like this should be the year that Kirby can get over the hump. And the only thing I'll go with for the argument against Alabama is there's a bunch of crybabies every year who talk about their teams should have gotten in, right? Um, I feel like even though it might cause more blowouts, I don't think we need a 12 team playoff. I've always said, if anything, you make it to where people can't cry about it anymore. You do 6 teams, top 5 power conference winners. So if you win your conference, you're in. The top 2 who had the best records and overall strength of schedule, they get a bye, right? That way the bottom 4 are playing each other. So top 5 power conference championships, no debate. Like I don't care about the record. I'm just saying, hey, stop them from crying. If you win your conference, you're in, and then you get one wild card. So I feel like that stops a lot of crying, and it helps get like those other conferences in.
I don't know when the exact like my exact age of when I started watching Georgia football, but this is probably the best defense I've ever watched. Like as far as Georgia goes,
Yeah,
I've never seen like they play as a unit. I mean, they're not. It's not one player who's carrying the defense. They're all really good and really talented, and they all fly to the ball. But as far as the playoff thing goes, I think that the reason why people want 12 team playoff is so that way they'll see more football.
yeah,
Uh, which I don't know. I kind of agree with what you're saying with the power conference getting a spot, and then just to have that one team that you throw in there that's undefeated.
yeah,
But I mean, because I mean, realistically, all these teams that cry every year, like whenever UCF went undefeated or whatever,
yeah.
like we know they weren't gonna do anything. Like,
I mean, I don't know. They beat Auburn in their bowl game that year.
Yeah, but Auburn wasn't that good either.
Hey, Auburn wanted to cry about their them not getting in the playoffs that year either. So,
Just didn't deserve anything.
I mean, I'm just saying, man. I feel like the 6 team, heck, even 8 teams is a better option than 12. You could have more wild cards with 8. Whoever you want to put in there. After the top power conference winners, I just 4 teams is already kind of I won't say much, but most people already know who the top 2 teams are, and they typically win those
Yeah,
games anyways in the playoffs.
that's true. But I think the thing that bothers me the most is like I don't care if we have an 8 team, a 12 team, a 24 team. I don't care. But please, for the love of God, do not put Notre Dame in it anymore because they don't deserve anything.
That's probably where we agree the most on anything. Notre Dame is extremely overrated. They play like their own independent schedule because they're not in a conference, and so they literally pick their opponents. And for whatever reason, I think that they are sending ESPN and the AP millions of dollars every year because they keep getting top ranked, and then immediately when they get in the playoffs, they just get blown out like completely. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys, like, didn't you already see the result of this the last year that we had a BCS championship game where they voted Notre Dame in to go up against Alabama and they got stomped? I mean, it
What was
was
that? Like
a blowout.
it was like 56-14 or something. And the only reason why they scored 2 touchdowns was garbage time.
Yeah,
Like,
it was awful. And they
yeah.
keep acting, like they've got this great reputation every year. I'm just waiting for ESPN and the AP to finally let them fall off the cliff because they're not worth anything.
No.
Like Notre
The
Dame
only
should
reason
be in the
why,
same like Notre Dame should be in the same uh that should be in the same conversation as UCF or USF, whatever, whenever they go like undefeated in bull crap.
I feel like the only reason why they keep getting voted in is because it's a college full of history and like, don't they have like the most winning record of all time or something? Like, I feel like the media wants to see them be that team again, be like they were back in the day when they were always beating people and stuff like that. But like
Well, that's the
those days
problem.
are over. It's the
Yeah,
SEC.
it's all nostalgia, which is my big problem. Like literally, people can talk about a resurgence of life for Sam Darnold in the NFL recently with Carolina. I still don't think he's that great. They've played awful teams and they're 3-0. Um, I think like two of their teams didn't even have their starting quarterbacks and they got to 3-0. So to me, another problem I have with college football is every single USC quarterback is somehow rated as like the top quarterback of the draft. I'm like, how? They're not playing anybody and their team is god awful. Do we not care about results anymore? Because typically the quarterbacks with the best results in college translate pretty well to the NFL.
Yeah, USC has had a history of bad quarterbacks in the NFL, but since we do have a USC transfer on the Georgia Bulldogs and JT Daniels, what do you think about JT though?
I think that he's going to end up in the same boat as most Georgia quarterbacks. He's going to end up getting drafted third or fourth round, no matter if he wins a championship or not. Just because that's the stigma of Georgia quarterbacks, because we're not really getting any dual threat guys who are getting ranked pretty heavily. Um, Jake Fromm had a bunch of good stats, and now he's fighting to stay in the league. So I think literally it's going to be the same boat with JT Daniels. Even if he wins a championship this year, probably going to be drafted third or fourth round. Unless there's not a lot of good quarterbacks, then he might get lucky. Sometimes that happens. But I'd say he's going to get drafted third or fourth round and be a backup behind somebody.
Well, I seen a thing. I don't know. It was just like on Facebook or something, but it was like ESPN or it was some kind of sports thing that had shared it, and it was saying that JT Daniels is supposed to be like one of the top quarterbacks in his class or something. So
I mean, hats off
I
to
mean,
him.
yeah, I think he's pretty good in my opinion. I mean, I think he's better than Jake Fromm, but
I'd
because
agree.
but also you have to question whenever Jake Fromm was playing, the play calling was also pretty bad.
Yeah, but I mean, he's had his opportunities in the NFL. He just doesn't look good in the preseason either. Like from, I mean, I don't know if you've ever watched his preseason games in the NFL.
I didn't watch him.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he was adapting very well. And I mean, hey, hats off to JT Daniels though, because he wanted to obviously get out of that crap hole that is USC, and he wanted to come to like a winning organization that is the Georgia Bulldogs. So, I mean, hey, hats off to him. I obviously have respect because he wanted to come to us, but I guarantee whoever is USC's quarterback, I don't know because I can't stand them and Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Whoever's their quarterback, if he comes out and says he's going to be in the NFL this year, they're going to rank him like top 2 or 3 in the class.
yeah, and then he's just gonna go to who whatever team gets first pick this year or whatever, and then he's gonna sit behind somebody because he's not good enough, or they start him, and then for the whole year he throws more interceptions than touchdowns, and
Yep.
yeah, just the whole thing.
Like Carson Palmer was probably the last decent quarterback out of USC.
Yeah,
And ever since then, we've had, Mark Sanchez, butt fumble. Uh, Sam Darnold now, hopefully he has a reset of life. But I can't stand Notre Dame and I can't stand USC quarterbacks being ranked as high as they are every single year.
But at least Mark Sanchez went to the playoffs.
That's true. He went to like 3 AFC title games. It's just that
Yeah.
they were going up against like New England every single one of those times or whatever.
I
Um,
don't know how they did it going 8-8 every year, but
yeah. I mean, Mark Sanchez, I don't know if you've heard his commentary on ESPN as an analyst. He's actually really good as a sports analyst. He's even made fun of his own butt fumble before, so he's got like this great character about him and he's actually really good on TV. You should probably stick with it.
I hadn't seen it. But I know there's some people like there's one of my friends. He said that he thought that Mark Sanchez was pretty good and all this stuff. I don't know. There's some people that think he was actually pretty good, but I don't
I,
know.
a lot of people will say there's certain quarterbacks that didn't get a rightful second chance. And Mark Sanchez could be one of them because he never really got a chance to start anywhere else. Um, and look, man, I'm gonna go there because I don't really care. I think Tim Tebow should have had a chance to start again somewhere. This man won a playoff game, and then all of a sudden he was just like blackballed, kind of like Kaepernick in a way, because they send him to New York knowing he's not going to start, and then they send him to New England knowing he's not going to start. So, uh, I'm like, man, you know what? This guy is like one of the only people to have won like 8 games in a row, wins a playoff game, and then just kind of gets booted from the league.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should have gave Tim Tebow a second chance, but I don't know if he was as good as people were saying he was in NFL. But
Let's put it this way: if Tebow sat behind Peyton Manning in Denver for like 4 years, that he was there, instead of Brock Osweiler, would Tim Tebow or Brock Osweiler had better success after Peyton Manning?
I mean, probably definitely Tebow.
Hey
But I
man,
mean,
I'm just saying, Tebow never got a fair shot. It was kind of rough, especially for
I
being a first round pick. Like,
yeah, I seen a video. It was on TikTok of because they had the Jaguars had Tebow at quarterback, and then they moved him to tight end.
yeah,
I seen a video of him blocking. It was great. He completely missed the block.
yeah. That's basically what got him cut from the team. Yeah, he's not cut out to be a tight end, and it's
No,
and if he wanted to do a position change, he should have done it years ago when Bill Belichick wanted to do it while he was in New England. Um, Instead of going to chase baseball for a little bit and then coming back. Uh, Man, I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of quarterbacks that didn't get their fair shot. People can say what they want to. Tebow got blackballed for no reason after winning a playoff game and like 8 season games in a row.
I can live with that. I can live with you saying that.
Because more quarterbacks get second chances for way less. So that's all I'm saying. Tebow got blackballed. Uh, but yeah, kind of straying away from football a little bit. Obviously, COVID is in the world. We've got this really weird rule in San Francisco where uh, Golden State players, it's weird. Away players who are not vaccinated can come in and play just because of travel guidelines and dumb, between the lines stuff like that the NBA finds or whatever. However, members of the Golden State Warriors cannot play their own home games if they are not vaccinated. And now they're running into an issue where Andrew Wiggins, who they just traded for not too long ago, is not vaccinated. He's saying that he doesn't want to get vaccinated and tried to file a religious exemption with the NBA, got denied because obviously you didn't have this religious exemption before COVID, so it must be fake now. And yeah, so he's not going to be able to play any home games, and he is catching a lot of flack for it.
I mean, I'm not anti-vax. I think that vaccines are a good thing, but I can see why people wouldn't want to take it right now because I mean there is people who are having like side effects from it or whatever. But I mean, if somebody like say I know we just got off the topic of football, but like say I was a professional football player and they were like, okay, you're gonna have to get the vaccine so you can play, then I would because that's I mean I enjoy football. So like
Yeah,
I don't know why you would just take it so that way you can just play. Especially, I mean, you're gonna be at your home arena with all those people there. I mean, people are wanting to see you play, and if you don't play, if Andrew Wiggins doesn't play, then Golden State is going to be down out of a good player because he had a good season last year. So
man. Uh, I don't know. Look, I've got a lot of people in my family who are also they definitely are like, and they're not anti-vax, they're anti-COVID vax because they don't realize that they get vaccines for their children every single year in school. Um, and then this comes out and they're like, oh, man, the side effects. I'm like, dude, I'm fully vaccinated. I didn't have any side effects from either of the shots. And I'm typically more conservative on this show between like Arthur and myself. I'm typically the one that leans that way. However, I mean, hey, I was in the army, man, and almost immediately you get shot with God knows what. Like you stand in a line and they give you probably 11 to 15 shots, depending on what you need and who you are in your immunization history or whatever. So I'm standing in a line and they're just like shooting you like one by one as you're walking through the line with God knows what, and takes a couple
so
days. You
basically, what you're saying is not only is Colton going to come back with a scat pack, he's also going to come back looking like uh, what's his name, Captain America, because all this stuff they juicing him up with in the army.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know, man. I think at this point the proof is almost in the pudding. Like a lot of people who catch COVID now, the ones that are vaccinated, they don't have a lot of symptoms from it. They also uh everybody's probably going to catch COVID at this point now. I mean, it's still kind of surging through. It's it's probably just going to be similar to our yearly flu because it's going to become an endemic. There's no point around it. It's not going away. Strains are evolving every year now, like the flu. Um, we didn't we didn't have a good enough plan in the first place, so it was never going to go away. They I just think that now, to me, like I got the shot, no symptoms, and I think if people are afraid of symptoms, they should talk to their doctor, specifically because certain shots will do other things. But like I go get a flu shot every year, just about, and typically when I get the flu shot, I get the flu like not too long after. That's like the one disease I'm susceptible to. I have a pretty good immune system. I don't really get sick with much else, but for whatever reason, the flu gets me ever since I got it for the first time as a teenager. I get it just about every year. And it's usually after I get the shot because I think whatever strains they're giving me in the shot is not, what I'm catching. But I'll say it, I catch it so early with the flu shot that I barely have any symptoms, man. Like as soon as they say I'm positive for the flu, I get my medication, and I'm good after like a day or two. And I think it's the same thing with COVID. Everybody I've talked to that's been vaccinated and caught it, they said they had no symptoms like whatsoever, really. Um, and the proof's in the pudding, man. Like honestly, yeah. Like if the NFL or the NBA came out and said, "Hey, you're not going to get to make your millions of dollars if you don't get this shot," I'd be like, "All right, let me ask which doctor, says which one is good for me." Because it's like, I mean, you can go deep into controversial stuff if you want to about, oh, is the government trying to control us and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's just a shot. Like we get shots all the time.
yeah. I mean, I feel what you're saying, but like, I'm not vaccinated, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really care anything about it just because, like, I mean, like, I've had the flu shot once in my whole entire life, and I got it. kind of like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then, but every other time, like I haven't had the flu shot, which is literally every other year of my life, except for just one time that I've had it, I hadn't had the flu. So like, I feel like people also shouldn't be mad at the ones who aren't getting the shot because, I mean, at this point, everybody probably has antibodies because we've all experienced it, probably. So I mean, I don't think people should be mad either way. I think honestly, we should just all mind our own business and let people just do what they want to do at this point because I mean, there's people on one side saying, "Oh, you have to get vaxxed," and all this stuff, and then there's people on the other side saying, "Well, I'm not doing it because it's just a control agent and all this and all the crazy conspiracies." But like, I mean, at this point, I don't think we should just not care. But I mean, it is what it is. If somebody told me I couldn't make my money, like, if I was an athlete and they told me I couldn't make my money, then I'd
Yeah.
just go get the shot because I mean, if you did have a side effect from it, I mean, you're rich. You'll be fine. So
Well, that's kind of the point I'm making. Like, I don't care that there's a lot of people that aren't vaccinated. It's a free country. Do whatever you want. Like, I got mine voluntarily. That's just what I did. Um, but at the same time, yeah, like if my employer said, "Hey, if you want to keep making this money every week, you're gonna go get this shot," then that changes everything for me. Uh, I mean, but I go outside all the time and I'm not wearing a mask anymore. Like in public, I have to wear one at work. But now, like when I go in public, I'm not wearing a mask. So God knows who's around me that's not vaccinated, you know? So I don't really care about that. I just think when you read stories like Andrew Wiggins, who say, "Hey, this man is going to miss half of his games this season because he's not vaccinated. He's going to miss like 44 games because he's not vaccinated." Like, dude,
yeah,
your team is about to hate you if you don't get the shot. Like, he is asking for a trade at this point.
I mean, it'd be different if it was somebody like that rides their bench, but this is Andrew Wiggins who put up, you know, valuable minutes for him last year. So like, just go get the shot. I mean, because I mean, Golden State was looking good last year. Like they're probably a couple of pieces away from. I mean, they weren't looking good, but like I don't know. I feel like they're almost to the point where they could be in the playoffs again pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, they got close last year. They played the
Yeah,
play-in game with LA.
yeah. I feel like they're probably close to being able to be contenders again. Like I don't know about. I doubt Clay will be the same after being injured all these years now, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Just go get the shot, Andrew Wiggins. Help your teammates out.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know, man. That story is just so crazy. Like, dude, you are really about to be the most hated man on your team just because you want to go get this shot and be available to play. Um, so I don't know, man. It's a weird time we're living in.
It is.
It's uh it's weird. I think the next year is gonna be one that defines us because we're basically getting into endemic stage at this point. It's not going away. I think we should just declare it endemic like the flu and say, hey, y'all got to learn to live y'all's lives like y'all do with the flu because we can't shut down the economy or anything for y'all anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's basically the only solution I see. I mean, if you get the vaccine, you get the vaccine. If not, you don't. But I mean, I'm not gonna get it unless my employer is like, you have to get it or you lose your job or something. Like that's the only way I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's weird. And shoot, I think that's gonna be a touchy subject for a little bit, but places like San Francisco, they're not gonna budge on that crap. They've been pretty strict about this the whole time. So yeah, man, Wiggins, he's gonna be in for a long year if he
Yeah,
keeps that stance. Um, so aside from all of this, I talked a little bit last week about this Gabby Petito case, and I don't know if you've I've been keeping up with it. Since our last talk, actually, by the time the last episode aired, they had actually found her body. So we recorded before they found her body, and then we obviously look like idiots when we do these shows and we record something, and then by the time it comes out Monday morning, it's already happened. So it's sometimes we're a little bit off with what we talk about. However, they did find Gabby Petito. Confirmed it was her. Confirmed her death is a homicide, at least at this point. More results are coming back. But her fiance, who returned home with her, is quote unquote still missing. And I think it's a bunch of bull because his parents aren't in the media like pleading for him to come back. Like they obviously know where their
Yeah,
son is. So that case just keeps getting stranger. And when the FBI definitely rules it a murder case, when her official autopsy results come back, um, he's going to be caught. The Florida police are looking in the same place for the past 2 weeks. I think it's a dumb idea because he's long gone from there if he was there, anyways. Uh, this man has got his parents in on it. He's hiding. And when the FBI names him a person of interest in a homicide case, uh, he's going to mess up because I guarantee his parents still have communication with him and they're going to be tracking phone calls and everything.
yeah. I actually seen. I mean, I don't know like everything about the case or whatever. But because I actually I listened to the podcast last week and I heard y'all talking about it,
Yep.
and then which I heard talk about it before, and I looked it up and was looking into it. But actually, this week, I think it was today or it might have been yesterday that I seen there was a video where the what's the boyfriend's name?
Like Ryan Laundry or Landry, however they say it.
Yeah, he accidentally went on Instagram Live and he was in a boat and like all you can see is the water. Like he accidentally went on Instagram Live.
Yeah, I heard
So
about that. I didn't know if it was confirmed real or fake, whatever. Like I said, man, this man
it
is,
might be.
huh?
I don't know if it is or not, but if it's true or not. But like I just seen it. I don't know if it's true, but I also heard this also might not be true. But I heard they called off the search in Florida because they seen that video or something.
No, because the FBI then told them that it was a homicide and they resumed like the very next day. But my problem is they've literally been searching in the same place for 2 weeks, man. Like, God, how? I mean, look, I need to get a policeman on here to explain this to me, but I'm just saying it seems idiotic because he's long gone by now, dude. Like his
Yeah,
parents didn't even report him missing until the police came and finally needed him for questioning. Like, dude,
yeah,
they said that he took his car to this natural reserve place, went on a hike, and then they they said they went to look for him, found a police officer's note on the car saying it needed to be moved because it had been there for a few days. So they bring the car back home, making it look like, to me, it looks like the car never left. Like, that was just some story they came up with because no police officer has verified that they left a note on his car. And there's been like no cameras of that car going in the park. So, to me, his parents know exactly where he is, or else, they'd be pleading for him to like come back. So Jesus, like I don't see how as a policeman these people can honestly think the man is still there unless they have some type of information that we don't know about as the public, which is entirely possible. That's why I'm not saying I know. I'm just saying I don't know. But it seems idiotic to be searching in the same place when his parents obviously know something because like what? Shouldn't another police officer who is patrolling the area have a recollection of leaving notes on the cars?
yeah. Whenever like I first heard about it and was looking into it or whatever, uh, at that point I had seen where like he had went missing or whatever. And I know that there's people like my family and stuff who's like, oh, he probably killed himself or whatever. But like, I mean, if the parents aren't saying anything, that's a dead giveaway. Like that,
Oh yeah.
they know that. I mean, if they're being like weird about it and everything, I mean, they probably know where he is.
That man's too much of a coward to kill himself. He comes back after, he probably killed his fiance. It's not confirmed, so I won't say he did, but it sure looks like he did. Like, I mean, it looks like he came back to Florida after he killed his fiance. Um, doesn't say a word to anybody, doesn't get in touch with her family and say, "Hey, she's missing. I couldn't find her, like in the park or whatever." When I came back, um, waits for her family to report her missing, and then immediately lawyers up. And so now I'm just like, God, the evidence is incriminating, dude. Like um, this guy and his parents are leading the FBI and these Florida policemen on a wild goose chase, and he'll get caught eventually. I don't know how long it'll be, but just coming back without her and not saying a dang word and then immediately lawyering up shows me that he wants to live, or else he would have killed himself by now. And
Yeah,
that his parents definitely know where he is.
yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious that he had something to do with it as soon as he ran away, and nobody could figure out where he was. I mean, that right there just already shows that if he maybe if he didn't do it, he still had something to do with it because he ran away. But I think, like you said, I'm pretty sure he did it. So I mean,
Yeah, and a lot of people say that um, the Gabby Petito case is bringing up um, other cases that we should have heard about a long time ago of other missing people, specifically people of color. So there's this other case, Daniel Robinson. You probably haven't heard of him. Maybe you have. I don't know. But
no, I ain't.
basically, he's a geologist who moved to Arizona in 2019. He did a lot of remote work at sites that were in deserts and everything. But literally, his Jeep, his uh, Cherokee Jeep, was found in the middle of a desert, crashed, and his clothes were on the ground outside. His wallet, keys, and phone were all inside or right outside the car still. No trace of them. Police say no foul play is suspected, despite his car being wrecked in the middle of nowhere. And the father has had to hire a private investigator because no other authorities are like getting involved. Um, and now GoFundMe's blowing up for this guy. However, I think, you know, it's weird because the law enforcement for this guy in Arizona only searched like 70 miles, and they're searching thousands of acres for this, Brian Laundrie guy in Florida. This guy's story is really weird, right? They they say the private investigator got the information off this guy's car, the black box that holds technology and stuff. His car wrecked more than once. After it wrecked the first time, it was driven another 11 miles. And it showed that somebody had tried to crank it up probably about 40 times after the initial crash. To me, that seems like somebody's in panic mode, like they're trying to get away or something. And on top
Yeah,
of that, when they found the car, it wasn't just the driver's airbag that had been deployed, the passenger airbag had also been deployed. They think he was with nobody. However, Jeep says that in that vehicle specifically, the passenger airbag is only designated to go off if the seat sensor is more than 50 pounds in the seat. So this man probably had somebody in the car with him, like threatening his life. And that's another weird case. Like, how did the police not think it's suspicious that the man's clothes are outside of his car and everything, like his phone and wallet keys, are inside the car, and he's just gone? Like, how is that not suspicious?
yeah. I mean, I haven't heard about this case, but yeah, that's pretty suspicious. I mean, especially since Jeep came out and was like, it has to be somebody, or it has to be 50 pounds or more for the airbag to go off. Then obviously there was somebody in there, probably had a gun to his head or something like that, trying to get
Yeah,
him to go somewhere. something, and he ended up wrecking, and then they just, I don't know, I guess they just stripped him down and took him off somewhere.
It's just so weird that it wasn't looked into for more than like 2 weeks. And now I'm glad that they're looking, or that there's more attention brought to it, because man, that family deserves some answers too. This guy was only 24 years old, just trying to live his life, further his career out in Arizona. Um, but God, that's just so weird that like his clothes and everything are found right outside the car. I'm like, they just think he like went up and joined a monastery or something. Like he just wrecked his car. He's probably in bad condition, and they think he just walked off somewhere.
Just disappeared and left his clothes behind.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's uh, the media coverage is really weird of some things. Hopefully, now that is brought up to media outlets, that guy can get some much needed attention, and hopefully there's like tips about him that come out in the near future. So I don't know, man. There's actually a lot of weird cases out there. And back to the Petito. Oh, they're gonna find that guy. He's gonna mess up eventually. I don't know when, but him or his parents will mess up as soon as the FBI starts naming him a legitimate person of interest in a murder case.
Oh yeah, they'll end up finding him.
Um. So yeah, it's a crazy world out there, man. It's a crazy world. And I didn't ask you this. Maybe I did at the beginning of the show. Uh, we talked about our weeks, right?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
good.
for now.
Um, yeah. So we talked about our weeks, and all of you lovely listeners out there, I can't promise that Arthur's not going to go on a trip again. So him and his two guests may or may not be on next week. I think we had a very good conversation today with good old Bryce and myself. Uh, and Bryce, are you a Marvel fan? Yes or no?
I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't like, I mean, Colton and them know this because I've argued with them before. But I mean, I wasn't really at first, but now, like, I mean, I've watched like Endgame and stuff. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I prefer like watching Star Wars and stuff, like the Star Wars stuff. But I mean, Marvel's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you like Star Wars?
I do.
Have you seen the new anime that's out, Star Wars Visions?
I have not. I haven't watched the other. There was another show they put on there too. I can't remember what it was. The Bad Batch or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's their new animated one. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet either.
it's not bad. Visions is actually pretty good. It's not canon, but anybody that's out there thinking, hey, what would it look like if Star Wars was anime? Hey, that's the show for you, man. Like sometimes you just want to see something that's totally different, and yeah, it's actually pretty good. I was surprised with how good it is. Um, final thoughts going into this sports week. This is going to air on Monday, so we're going to look like complete fools. However, predictions for Atlanta versus the New York Giants.
Man, I'm gonna say I don't know. I'm gonna say 24-14. Falcons lose. I'm just gonna say it.
I
Don't want it to happen. I wish they could win, but I just don't know what's going on with the team. I
all right.
mean,
I'm
so
gonna I'm gonna say this. Saquon Barkley is not 100% this season. Daniel Jones is known for causing a lot of turnovers. So I'm gonna call the Falcons to win, but I think it's gonna be pretty close. I'm thinking it's either gonna be something like 24-21 or 28-24.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. My score prediction probably isn't gonna happen, but I'm just saying that for the sake of my fantasy team at this point because don't have faith in the Falcons.
Yeah.
And I know that the other boys in the group chat are really gonna hate the fact that I don't have faith in them. But hey, it's about the fantasy team at this point.
Yeah.
So
That's what it is. I mean, hey, when you're a Falcons fan, all you really care about is fantasy every year now, because you gotta have something to look forward to.
that's true.
But yeah, man, final thoughts for the week. You got anything going on next week or anything you'd like to, say to old faithful out here on the listeners?
Well, this weekend Georgia's playing Vanderbilt, so hopefully at least Georgia will probably win, if nothing else. And I don't know. That's probably it. I hope you have a good week though, and hope everything goes good for everybody.
Yep. And yes, I hope everybody has an excellent week. AVG, hope you had a great weekend out in old Tennessee, my friend. Hope you're playing this back on Monday. I hope you enjoyed it. As long as AVG is back, we will have his two special guests on, like he had discussed previously. We just didn't want you to miss out on a week, so we recorded one. And as far as our next week goes, I really hope everybody has a great sentimental week. For me, I've got some really good news that I should be able to report next show. I can't say it just yet, but I do have some pretty good news that, yeah, I should probably be able to share next week. So, yeah, I'm sending positive vibes to all of our listeners. Hope you enjoyed this show. Next time, we'll try to be a little more controversial. We record this last minute. Bryce and I, next time, we'll go head to head for sure. We'll bring up opposing points. We'll be at each other's throats. That's just how it goes. We kept it cordial for y'all today, but next time, we can go at it if that's what y'all want to do. So we'll send positive vibes y'all's way. You can catch me on Twitter at Jerod Evans and our show at unheard_of pod, which is on Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, actually with the same handle if you search for it like that. And we always share YouTube throughout the week, so you'll find the links if you follow our Facebook and Twitter pages and Instagram as well. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the show, everybody. And as always, we love you, we hear you, and we hope you hear us here at Unheard of.
Peace.
And as always, I'm Arthur.
And I'm Jerod. And you just listened to
Unheard of.